On your Monday episode of Locked On Raptors, can't score on zone, can't score in the clutch. Our pets' heads are falling off.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Monday, January the 19th, and I am your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Raptors for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast. 100% free to join. As always, we'd love to see you become part of our listener community. We could use some level heads in there because this fan base does not know how to handle a 2-game losing streak whatsoever. Come be part of the normal crowd, please. We also love the psychos, but man, oh man, go outside. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel Before Tip. Check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're off and running here on a Monday, talking about a pair of losses to Los Angeles-based basketball teams in two different locales. A Friday overtime loss to James Harden, turning back the clock, and the LA Clippers minus Kawhi Leonard. Bit of a win you wish the Raptors could have picked up, considering how well they played for 3/4 of that game. But the crunch time offense continues to be a struggle point. We'll talk about that. We will get into the critical mass of injuries that kind of just ended the Raptors' chances of beating the Lakers midway through the third quarter on Sunday. We got the good, the bad, the and here to talk about it all is our dear pal, Vivek Jacob, Big V from Raptors in 7. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Another good weekend in the books. We got the Australian Open going. Manchester United beat Manchester City in the Manchester Derby.
So this is like a perfect Big V weekend.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. You know, you had to take the 2 L's to the LA team, so that was a downer for sure for the Raptors, and I know we're going to get into that, but I guess you can't win them all.
You can't. And in fact, you know, that's the truth for all teams, even the really, really good ones. And the Raptors, I'd say they're just like a pretty good one. I wouldn't say they're a really, really good one. And sometimes you lose games you should win. And I think that Friday game against the Clippers is a game the Raptors absolutely should have won. Without Kawhi Leonard, even with the injuries, and look, I don't think we can sort of totally cast aside the effect of injuries on the Raptors right now and why their play has looked a little less inspired of late. They're missing 2 or 3 starters seemingly every night. Jacoby Walter's been a helpful bench piece who gives them insulation when Grady Dick is not great, and he was not great on Sunday. Not having Jacoby Walter is a big deal. Collin Murray-Boyles goes out last night. We'll talk about that coming up more. But I do think that Friday game, even with the injuries, even with the guys out of the lineup, that was one they should have had based on how they played in the first 3 quarters, how they kind of took it to the Clippers for the lion's share of that game. And you wrote about this in your newsletter, Raptors in 7, Big V, and we'll talk about it here. The crunch time offense continues to be a real sore spot for this team that has been a good clutch team on the whole. They've had an incredible clutch defense, or the number 2 defense in clutch situations per NBA.com. Again, for those uninitiated, those are defined as within 5 points, under 5 minutes left in a game. The Raptors have been killer on the defensive end, but offensively, just not there. A 104.3 offensive rating in clutch time, 22nd ranked in the NBA. And as great as their defense has been, as much as I believe in them being able to kind of ratchet things up and really affect possessions late and kind of use that as a clutch time weapon, at some point you're going to run into a guard or a star player, James Harden, for example, turning it back to 2016, and you're just going to have to be able to score and keep with the team that is finding ways to score on your defense. And the Raptors could not do that in the game against the Clippers. What are you seeing with this clutch offense late? I mean, we've talked about it. It's been recurring issues throughout the season, frankly, and maybe we'll get into the sort of lack of counters it seems like they've come up with. But what have your overall impressions been, Big V, of the way the Raptors have just kind of had their offense dry up in clutch situations?
Yeah, so I think, you know, when we talk about this is a game the Raptors should have won against the Clippers, you're looking at a 109-101 lead with 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining on your home floor.
Mhm.
Like in those situations, you should be winning 9 out of 10. If
Totally.
you're a really good team, you're probably winning 10 out of 10. But I just felt like when you look at the offense, obviously you give Darko a bit of grace because you look at the injuries with RJ and Jacoby, and he's having to choose between Ochai and Grady, who haven't given you much this season. Ochai had a pretty good game. Grady had a pretty good game, and I think when you look at the offense, it was like, hey, can we get the ball to Bi? And then you know, Darko talked about how physical they were being with him and denying him the ball. And yeah, I just thought there were opportunities to go to Scottie Barnes.
Mhm.
And I don't know why they seem so, you know, just there's just a general lack of awareness when it comes to, hey, we've got this other guy that's pretty good. He's
Yeah.
probably the guy who's going to be representing us at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
We can go to him, no problem. And I think when you look at that Philly game where they had the comeback and they win that game, and guess what? There was no Bi on the court, and so they had to find other ways to get it done,
Mhm.
and they do. And they ride Scottie Barnes in that one. And so I think there's enough opportunities. And at the same time, the other thing I wrote about was when you see the Raptors struggle to score, not score a point in the remaining 3:30 of regulation, not score for the first 90 seconds of the overtime period. And then Scottie is like, okay, this is starting to get away from us. Like, I got to take the reins here.
Mhm.
When you see him show that type of assertiveness from that point on, then you say, okay, Scottie, like you need to be in this mode when you feel the game slipping away in the fourth quarter and be
Mhm.
like, hey, I need to get a touch here. Now, I will say there were two possessions. One where Scottie, uh, the ball was with Brandon Ingram. Initially, it was with Jamal Shed, and I thought Jamal Shed missed Scottie posting up and then
Mhm.
gave it to Bi, and then Bi tried to go one on one with Chris Dunn and turned it over. And then there was another possession where Scottie did get a touch, and he posted up, and then the double came, and he kicked it out, and that's what led to the Ochai 3-pointer that was off. So when you see that that's the type of attention he's getting, like you got to
Mhm.
trust him because he passes the ball so well too. So I just think you've got to show that same commitment to getting Scottie the ball that you do Bi.
Yeah, and frankly, I think a lot of the numbers, a lot of the eye tests, a lot of just like the way the team is constructed kind of warrant a shift of the late game offense flowing through more of Scottie than Ingram, just because I think that's a healthier way for them to go about it. I mean, Ingram has struggled with his playmaking this year. And look, not having RJ Barrett has certainly hurt this whole thing as well. He gives them more balance. He gives them options. He gives a guy who makes those reads so much easier for Ingram when he's got the ball and he sees two, all that stuff. Like their crunch time offense would be better if RJ Barrett were healthy for half the season. I feel pretty good about that. But I think generally speaking, like Scottie's a better playmaker than Ingram is. He's someone who, obviously, with his lack of sort of dead eye shooting, is someone who you're maybe happier to play kind of inside out with and kind of weaponize Ingram off the ball. He's been very good off the ball. We know you bring him off of a screen on the second side, have him sort of roar into space. Brandon Ingram off the catch in those situations has been fantastic. He's not been a great three-point shooter this year, but he's a better three-point shooter than Scottie Barnes, who can draw more of a closeout and kind of keep the machine flowing. And I think it's just kind of been a little bit of a lack of imagination with this sort of Ingram do something offense. And, if you want to say, well, in these situations, you're never really going to get to your sort of peak idealized Darko ball offense because it's crunch time and you don't want to do that, right? You want to be conservative in a way. You want to avoid turnovers and you're maybe going to let things bog down into isolation a little bit more. Maybe that's the argument for kind of playing Ingram ball. But if you look at the numbers, Scottie Barnes has just been a better isolation player than Ingram this season too. So far this season per synergy, Brandon Ingram in isolation, 25th percentile, 0.765 points per possession. You go to Scottie Barnes in isolation, 62nd percentile, 0.967 points per possession. It's just not even close. And I think what Scottie does out of those creative situations, it lends itself to more opportunities and more possibilities in those late game situations than they're opening up for themselves right now. And this is not to say that I don't think Ingram, shouldn't be one of the sort of lead guys of the offense over the course of the first 43 minutes of games either, right? I think the way he's been able to kind of be the backstop for the offense over the course of 48 minutes has really helped Scottie become this sort of full-fledged jack of all trades who's incredible at all of the trades. And I don't want to see the sort of dynamic shift over the course of 48, but in those late situations, seems pretty clear to me. Scottie Barnes is just kind of better at creating something from nothing for the team, maybe not for himself necessarily, because Ingram can get to that mid-range, but it just feels like a healthier sort of ecosystem if the flow starts with Scottie and then plays out of that more often than not. Again, not to say that you never run an ISO possession for Brandon Ingram late in the game either. There's balance to all this stuff, but I think the balance should probably be shifted a little bit towards Scottie Barnes to maybe try to grease a little bit more out of the offense in these late situations where things get tight. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a perfect example in front of you. It didn't happen last night, but in general, when LeBron has been healthy and you watch the Lakers in a close game, it's not like they're just sitting there saying, "Okay, Luka, go do your thing." Right? Like LeBron's getting his touches, Luka's getting his touches. When Reeves is in there, Reeves is getting his touches. There's a way to do it. Darko has set up the offense to do it. And yeah, I just think that variety gives the Raptors more of a chance. And we're talking about a team that has been 14-7 in clutch games, despite being 22nd in offensive rating. So
yeah,
we're not asking this team to be top 5 offensive rating in the clutch. If you can just get to league average, you'll look a whole lot better when you're already pretty damn good.
And again, Ingram will probably get better in those situations too, right? Like he's not going to shoot 33% effective field goal percentage in these situations all year long, but that's kind of what he's hovering around right now. And it's worth trying something different because what they've done just isn't quite getting it done right now. That said, the defense still really good. We like that. But will the defense stay good if Collin Murray-Boyles is going to miss any times? That is the question. And are the Toronto Raptors nearing a critical mass of bad injury luck where it's just going to make any win hard to scrape out? We will talk about that coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during the basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect. Right before the games, right before the weekend starts. Maybe you've sat down on your couch after a long, hard week at work, open a brew dog, and you're waiting for the games to start. Well, there you have it on FanDuel. You can go check out the Happy Hour, boosts and bonuses. It adds extra energy to a Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Back at it here with Big V, Vivek Jacob, as we continue to talk about an 0-2 weekend against teams from Los Angeles for your Toronto Raptors, now 25-19 in the heat of battle to hang on to the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference among all of these mid teams. They're all having a mid-off, Big V. Let's get to the injury stuff because, look, every team goes through this at some point. This is just the nature of the modern NBA. The Raptors had been exceedingly lucky health-wise in the first month of the year. Then R.J. Barrett goes down. The Pirtle thing continues to be a story. It's been a less lucky last month and a half for the team. And some more bad stuff happened last night. Collin Murray-Boyles, who's had a thumb wrap on his left thumb for a long time now, seemingly weeks since before Christmas, gets slapped down on by Luka Doncic. And by the way, the Lakers just love to slap that ball. Very annoying stuff. But slaps down on the thumb, and he leaves the game. He was questionable return, and then Kayla Gray passed along that he was, in fact, not going to return. X-rays, negative. That's great. We'll see. Maybe it's just a Brandon Ingram level of thumb illness or whatever you're calling it. A contusion, I think, was the official designation. But got to say, man, I'm a little bit worried about what it means if Collin Murray-Boyles can't play because he's been so good. He has been everything and more than you could possibly want from him as the guy filling in for the injured Jakob Poeltl. And yes, they've had moments where Scottie Barnes at the 5 and a whole bunch of small guys around him have gotten it done. Last night, the Lakers, who were just like a gigantic team, it was just going to give them, they had nothing after Collin Murray-Boyles went out. It was kind of the end of the game. And I'm worried if Collin Murray-Boyles misses time on top of all these other injuries. You know, they struggled shooting again. Jacoby Walters, one of their better shooters, he's not available. RJ Barrett obviously has been a key to their offense. Seems like he's working his way back. Fingers crossed there that there's no setbacks. I don't know, man. This injury stuff, you mentioned it last week, I think, in your or your bad about the injuries piling up. We might be nearing a critical point where it's just hard for them to win any basketball games with a number of important players out of the lineup. How concerned are you right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty concerned. I mean, especially when you look at the big man side of things, thank God that Sandro was able to recover from those 2 falls. Both of them were pretty scary.
Also, like I love Mamu, and those were fouls and all of that. I would like it if he would jump with a plan of what he's going to do more often, because sometimes that dude just jumps and it ends poorly.
So, to be honest, I think the first one was more so Marcus Smart maybe not knowing that Mamu's got that kind of pop.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Wasn't familiar with your game. Yeah.
I don't think he would have slid in that way if he knew that Mamu had that in him. And I think as the season has gone on, we've seen teams and players kind of learn that on the fly. So I thought the first one was just like not expecting that level of elevation and quickness to the basket. But yeah, I am concerned. I think with CMB, all of a sudden you felt a little bit of relief over the Yak injury because of how good he's been. And you're kind of looking at.
By the way, he was so freaking good last night.
He was incredible,
unbelievable, man. Whatever the opposite of spiraling is, I'm doing in the positive direction with Collin Murray-Boyles about what he can be. But carry on.
Well, hey, I mean, he had Luka spiraling in that first quarter. Like, the guy was getting rejected, picking up a tech. He was not enjoying that first taste of CMB. So. Yeah, I think this is something that could really hurt the team. They might be forced into, as your name suggests, into a 10-day. It feels like the Raptors are going to be forced to wait on the trade front, and just in terms of other teams trying to figure out what they're doing and whatnot. I think if Bobby could address the center situation right now, he probably would. But I think there's just so much going on around the league.
Dominoes yet to fall,
that everyone's kind of holding on to their chips in anticipation, and so you're just kind of forced to play this waiting game. And the game was on TSN. Josh Lewenberg had a report about how, hey, whatever hasn't happened to this point is not for a lack of effort. Bobby has been on the phones trying to figure something out. So in terms of just a bit of optimism, you know, initially the diagnosis for RJ was that he's day-to-day. So I sincerely hope that we are getting closer to having him back, which I think would go a long way in feeling better about this team. Obviously, we got IQ and Battle back. And if you can get RJ back, that's a big positive. But the center situation right now, just the lack of big man, when DeAndre Ayton is going a perfect 10 for 10 and finishing with 25 points. I think that says everything you need to know about how they're able to go up against big men right now.
Yeah, I mean, the hopeful thing is the next 2 games are against the Warriors and the Kings. We've already seen Scottie Barnes be Godzilla against the Golden State Warriors, who are as small as it gets. So maybe that's a game you can survive without Collin Murray-Boyles. And then the Kings are the Kings, and they suck, and their whole team is bad guards. And so maybe you're gonna, get lucky with a little break here. But yeah, it's not ideal, man. It's like you'd like to not have guys continually falling out of the lineup, and there's only so many ways you can fill in. This is just kind of what happens, right? Like, it'd be great to have insurance for all of these guys who get hurt, but there's only a finite number of good players in every roster, and every team goes through it. And I guess for me, if there's like some cope to be shared, At least it's happening now in January when they've already banked a bunch of wins and they're sitting in fourth. They have a little cushion, not a lot of cushion because the East is so packed, but they've got 25 wins on the board. They didn't have it happen in November when, they would have been in a hole they're trying to dig out of the entire season. It's not happening in April. The All-Star break is relatively soon. You can kind of reset. Every team's got to have it at some point, and maybe it's best it's happening right now if it's going to happen at all. Big V, does that soothe your feelings at all?
I mean, I get where you're coming from.
It's like loose cope, but it's some cope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just like when you look at the standings and how bunched up the teams are, like you could come back from this road trip depending on the extent of the CMB injury, depending on when RJ returns. Yak, we don't know. I'm not optimistic on that front. If you come back from this road trip, say 1-4, and all of a sudden you're in the play-in tournament, the vibe feels a bit different, and you got to get back on track pretty quickly.
Yeah, man. Look, it's also just kind of the way she goes, man. Like, if you're playing poorly, well, you have a bunch of injuries. It's kind of just like, all right, well, what the hell are you going to do type of thing. And I will say, like, this team has, I think, shown that it's got a bit of resiliency kind of baked into its bones. Even the stat last night, 6-1, coming off of losses over the last month or whatever, like something like that. Like, that's encouraging stuff, right? Like, this is a team that can punch back. This is a team that had a really bad swoon in December that they really, I think, kind of evened themselves out of and played some pretty damn good basketball. And for a time there, were the best team in the East at 7-3 over the last 10 before the last couple of losses, right? Like, it's not like they haven't kind of weathered some down spells and adversity this season. This might be the sort of peak of the adversity if Murray-Boyles is going to be out too, because, man, he's so good. But this is a team that I don't think it's like years past where it's like, okay, you missed some key guys and it's just like they're not even going to throw a punch. Like, they might lose some games. I don't think they're going to roll over and die in whatever games lie ahead. And you just weather the storm as best you can until you get your guys back. And that's kind of how you got to do it with injuries, man. They suck. Injuries, they're lame. We'll come back on the other side, do something that's not lame. It's the good, the bad, and the and we will wrap it up there. Talk about zone offense. Not great. We'll talk about Scottie Barnes, mid-range, real good. All that coming up. Just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. And look, Game Time is just the best place to go if you want to buy tickets to sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, theater. It's all there for you. And I've been using Game Time for a very, very long time during basketball season. Maybe you want to get in to watch the Raptors play. They've been pretty good at home. They play exciting games. The crowds have been pretty live throughout most of the season. Maybe you want to be part of that. Game Time comes in there to help you get those tickets. And they give the fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets just takes a few taps, and you can see your view from your seat. So if you've not been to a venue before, it's a great feature to know exactly where you're going to be. You don't want to get stuck behind some pillar in a bad view sighting zone of the area that you're sitting in. It's all there for you to go and see. Plus, the prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Features like zone deals help unlock great seats at even better value. You pick the section, they pick the seats, and you save some money. It's all pretty awesome. I've used it for all kinds of events, concerts, comedy shows, sporting events on the road in various cities across North America. It works everywhere. It's great. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off with Game Time. Go check it out. Back at it here with Big V, wrapping things up with the good, the bad, and the This is the way we wrap up every single episode of this here podcast, The Heels of Toronto Raptors, a basketball game. Thing we like, thing we didn't like. This got us a little intrigued. Blaze, Raptors, hoops. I did it. Sort of. If you listen to the podcast every day, you know exactly what I just said. And if you don't, well, I'm sorry. Actually, before we jump into the good, the bad, and the Big V, a reminder: the Everydayer Club is open for you to sign up. $5 a month, $50 for the year gets you ad-free episodes of the show every single day and access to a Locked On Discord. It's great, and the Locked On Raptors Discord stays free, and then you have the Locked On one for the people across the globe who like to watch the sports that you like to watch. Fun stuff in there for NFL Sunday over the weekend, or NFL because playoff weekend. There were games all weekend long. Not that I watch them because I'm not a football boy. Either way, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer to sign on up, and it's very much appreciated. It helps me out big time. All right, Big V, the good, the bad, the what you got for your good?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, even though he went down with the injury, like CMB, just the way he started that game, the way he kind of like dominated, in my opinion, in that first quarter and set the tone for the Raptors. It was incredible to watch. Like, he just doesn't look like a rookie out there. And,
not at all.
The fact that it was a 1-point game when he left and it ends kind of in a blowout the way it did speaks to the impact that he's been having. And I think that's the biggest thing that stands out for a rookie to come in. And let's be real, he's not playing his natural position. Like, his ideal position is probably the 4. He's coming in as a rookie with a starting center out and giving you really, really good minutes when he's overmatched. It is what it is. But it's very rare that happens because of how strong he is. Yeah, I love the way he's passing the ball. Love the way that he's able to defend and contest at the basket. We've seen some goaltends. We've seen some really nasty blocks. And yeah, I think he's just going to get better and better, and he just picks up things so quickly. And yeah, just can't think of a single bad thing to say about him other than, hey, I wish, that thumb was better.
Yeah, no kidding. Have a stronger thumb, man. What's wrong with you? My good is like kind of alluding to the thing we talked about earlier. Scottie Barnes' mid-range game just feels like butter all the time now, and I like it a lot. I mean, maybe sometimes you'll kind of go to it a little bit too often. He had the back-to-back sort of baseline turnarounds against the Lakers last night where he hit the one and then missed the second, and it was kind of a deflating miss. But all told, I feel so good that shot's going in. If he gets to the elbow and takes that mid-range jumper, it might be one of the Raptors shots I feel the best about going in right now. It has been rock solid, 45% this season from long mid-range per clean the glass, by far his career best, 74th percentile in the league. It's great. Loving to see it from Scottie. That mid-range package has been a true delight and a real sort of basis around which the rest of his game has been built. And now he's turning it into that like sick counter where they're jumping at that mid-ranger and he's pump faking and stepping through into finger rolls seemingly nightly. That's a lot of fun as well. He's just really, I think, rounding out that offensive package beautifully. That mid-range has been a huge deal. The bad, I will go first on this one, Big V. And I feel like a broken record, as I feel like this has been the bad on roughly 10 episodes of the podcast this year. But what can you do? It was as bad as it's ever been last night. The offense against zone. My God, Big V. The Lakers just kind of spammed it last night. Per clean the glass. 41 possessions of zone seen by the Raptors last night, and they scored 0.634 points per possession per synergy. Just not good enough. And like at some point, it just seems like the league has figured out, okay, we can zone this team up, and they turn into puddles. And like, I don't know what the actual fix is here beyond, for the love of God, someone make a 3. They're not doing enough to get Scottie Barnes the ball in the middle. They're not doing enough to gain dribble penetration. I think Brandon Ingram in particular has been very putrid playing against zone this season. It's just not finding those gaps whatsoever. Grady Dick can't hit a 3 to save his life. It's rough stuff, man. I don't know what to do with the zone offense, but anything but what we've seen would be nice as a start. It's just I think this is generally a pretty serious basketball team. The single most unserious thing about them is how flummoxed they are by high school defense. It's kind of crazy. I don't know what to do about it. Like it's baffling, man. What do you got for your bad? Is it just more thoughts on the zone defense? You can do that if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, if I went with my bad, it would be a continuation of what I've done before in terms of the injuries. So I'll zoom in on your bad.
Yeah, sure.
And I think one of the things that was discouraging might be too strong a word, but it was frustrating to see how much they kind of mentally got down by the zone. The aim of the zone is effectively to get you to give up.
Yeah.
On movement, on ball movement, player movement, all of that. And they do that too much.
Yeah.
And that's where you really feel the absence of RJ, because all he loves to do is cut and find those gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's where, if there's one thing that these other guys should be taking from RJ and saying, oh, okay, like, how does he do that? That's something that you can kind of learn from. And, you might not be able to, drive to the basket like him with the ball, but you can certainly do that. And so trying to learn that, I think, is something that needs to happen. And just that we talk about this team being resilient, I think specifically against the zone, they've got to be more resilient.
Totally. And I think like the flashes you see, I think for them, the answer is probably not coming from just bombing threes, right? Like I think the answer is probably got to be using their way above average interior passing talent to kind of pick things apart from the inside. And they have moments where it works, right? Where it's like Scottie to Collin Murray-Boyles creeping baseline, or Mamu and Scottie, or Mamu and CMB with the sort of quick ping passing. Like that's got to be, I think, the way they do it. And they're just not intentional enough about that right now. And it is a lot of just like, Brandon, take a three, please. Or Grady, take a three. Or IQ, take a three. And like, they're not falling. Like, they got to hit the threes, obviously, that they're taking. But they got to change the process up a little bit here, too, I think, in order to make it all work. Because, yeah, it's rough stuff, man. They're down to second worst in the league per synergy against the zone on a points per possession basis. Only the Spurs are worse. And the Spurs have like no shooting whatsoever. Just kind of interested to see, can they clutch onto this 4 seed they've been hanging on to for a good while now? It's been a few weeks. They've just kind of comfortably in the 4 seed while the teams below them kind of stop and start and lose games and then win games and then lose games and just kind of can't get their stuff together. Can they weather this injured stretch and hang in the top 6? Like, I think for me, the way I look at the East, I feel like the top 7, I kind of feel like I feel good on. I know the Heat are only a game back of that bunch, but I kind of think the Heat are cheeks. And so I'm not terribly worried about them. Maybe they're good. I don't know. They seem like not a very good team to me. But 4 through 7, I think it's just going to be like an absolute dogfight all season long. And we could totally see them be in 7th by the time this road trip is over if things go poorly. Doesn't mean they'll be out of it. Doesn't mean they can't climb back up in the standings. And look, the Knicks are also tumbling themselves, and the 2 and 3 seeds are also eminently gettable for a team that goes on a heater here. But can they avoid the absolute disaster of we just can't win any games while we deal with these injuries? Can they do some semblance of the Nuggets thing where they just make it work with all the injuries? Like, good teams figure out how to at least scrape out a few wins to kind of keep afloat. We'll see, but I'm keeping an eye on those standings and the jumble in the middle of the East for the next little bit here for sure. Where are you at with your
I thought, coming back to the theme of officiating, I thought, Darko maybe was overcompensating a little bit from the Clippers game. And I wonder if he's starting to be like, okay, I got to find this line where I'm like holding the refs accountable to say kind of, hey, like, respect us. We're not, I'm not going to just be Mr. Nice Guy all the time. And you guys are going to have to like be a bit more accountable here. I thought the Clippers game, for him to have kind of complained about the officiating after, where he made note of, how they were holding and grabbing Ingram and flat out called it illegal. When I watched back the film, he didn't have a go at the refs at any point down the stretch.
Right.
And that's where I'm like, you're in a close game. If this thing is bothering you so much, like, you've got to point it out to them.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think that's, in terms of maybe what came with that Lakers incident a couple years ago. And then obviously he had that moment in Memphis as well. I think those have kind of made him really cool off.
Sure.
But maybe, now he realizes that maybe he's got to find that fine line where it's like, hey, I've got to be pointing stuff out, because that's kind of how it usually works with the refs. And then, still doing it not to an extent where everyone starts looking at it and saying, hey, this is a reason why we're losing the game.
Yeah. He did go and get teed up against the Lakers, so there's that.
Yeah.
Good for him there. I will also say, the early game challenge drives people crazy. The one last night where they challenged the the charge block with Murray-Boyles and Luka. I'm so glad they challenged that absolutely garbage call and overturned it because, what a joke. Anyway, we'll leave it there before we talk about refs because we don't talk about refs on this podcast. Big V, anything you want to promote for the good people out there?
Usual stuff. Raptors in 7. I mean, hey, it's amazing for Joe Wolfon to want to be a part of it for the program. And so he'll have his first post coming up soon. And I think we're going to do something pretty cool at Raptors in 7 the rest of the way this season. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
The cross-pollination between Locked On Raptors and Raptors in 7 continues as Joe Wolfon now has fingers in both pots. Love to see that. Also, speaking of sort of expanding the universe of Locked On Raptors, go check out the Locked On Raptors postcast with Zulfi Sheikh and Dwayne Notice. They kicked it off last night with reaction to the Laker game, and they will have that for you every single Raptors game right after, live on YouTube here on this channel. Then it'll go up on audio afterwards. Another little addition to the Locked On Raptors feed. More stuff for you to check out throughout the week. And Zulfi and Dwayne are awesome. They've both been on the show before and will be on the show again sometime soon, surely. So please go and support their new venture, which is our new venture. They're our pals. We're all in the same boat here. And it's always appreciated when you support the show, whoever it is you choose to support the show. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Oh.